The arrival. Zara looked up at the bright blue sky of her home planet, Zenthora. The twin suns shone brightly, making everything sparkle. Zara loved this time of day. It was when she could feel the warmth of the suns on her skin and the gentle breeze on her face. Today, however, something felt different. The air was filled with excitement. In the bustling market of her city, many creatures were busy shopping, chatting, and laughing. Zara walked through the colorful stalls, her eyes wide with wonder. She had heard whispers about a group of strange beings visiting from another planet, humans. The tales told of their odd ways and amazing inventions. Zara could hardly contain her curiosity. As she strolled past the fruit stand, she spotted a group of humans standing in the center of the market. They were tall and wore strange clothes that covered their entire bodies. Their hair was different colors. Some were bright like the flowers in Zara's garden. The humans were showing off strange objects that glimmered in the sunlight. A small crowd began to gather around them. Zara squeezed her way to the front, her heart racing with anticipation. What are they doing? Zara whispered to her friend, Lyra, who stood beside her. Lyra shook her head, equally intrigued. I don't know, but it looks exciting, she replied, her eyes sparkling. The humans were passing around a shiny object that looked like a small sphere. It had buttons and lights, and Zara was mesmerized. One human picked it up and pressed a button. The sphere lit up, and a loud noise echoed from it. The crowd gasped and then burst into laughter. Zara giggled too, feeling the joy of the moment. Can we try? Lyra asked, nudging Zara. But the humans seemed focused on the small sphere, their faces filled with delight. Zara felt a pang of disappointment. She wanted to understand this strange object. Just then, one of the humans noticed Zara's curious gaze. He stepped forward, a friendly smile on his face. Hello, would you like to see what this does? His voice was warm, and Zara felt a flutter of excitement in her chest. Yes, please, she replied, stepping closer. The human handed the sphere to Zara. It felt warm in her hands. Just press that button, he instructed, pointing to a bright red button on the surface. Zara nodded, her hands trembling slightly as she pressed it. The sphere let out a loud beep, and suddenly, colorful lights danced around them. The crowd gasped again, this time in awe. Zara laughed, feeling like she was in a dream. The humans cheered and clapped. And for a moment, Zara felt like a star. What is it? Lyra asked, her voice filled with wonder. It's a toy, the human said, laughing. But it's also a tool. We use it for many things. Zora's eyes widened. A toy, she repeated, puzzled. Yes, we have many toys that can do all sorts of things. This one is just for fun, but it can also help us learn. Zara felt even more curious now. Toys that help you learn. She wanted to know everything. The humans began to demonstrate other objects, each more fascinating than the last. One was a small device that projected images into the air. Zara watched in amazement as the humans made pictures of animals and landscapes appear before her eyes. What else do you have? Zara asked, her excitement bubbling over. Wait until you see this, another human said, producing a box that seemed to hum. This one can create music. Zara and Lyra shared wide-eyed glances. Music. They had music on Zenthora, but not like this. This was different, louder and more vibrant. As the humans played the music, Zara felt her heart dance. She couldn't help but sway to the rhythm. The crowd joined in, clapping and moving. Zara felt a sense of unity, a bond with everyone around her, even though they were from different worlds. After some time, the humans packed their objects away. Zara felt a twinge of sadness. She wanted to learn more. As the last item was put away, she stepped forward, feeling bold. Excuse me, she called out. The human who had spoken to her earlier turned back, smiling. Yes, I want to know more about your toys and tools. Can you teach me? Zora's eyes sparkled with hope. The human nodded, his expression softening. Of course. We love to share what we know. We'll be here for a few more days. Come back tomorrow, and we can show you more. Zara felt a rush of joy. I will. Thank you, she replied, her heart full of excitement. As the humans walked away, Zara turned to Lyra, her face lit up with enthusiasm. Did you see that? They will teach us more. Lyra smiled back, her eyes bright. This is just the beginning, Zara. I can't wait to learn about their world. Zara glanced back at the humans, who were laughing and chatting among themselves. She felt a connection to them, even though they were so different. This was the start of an incredible adventure, one that would change everything for her and her people. The sun began to set, painting the sky with vibrant colors. Zara and Lyra made their way home, buzzing with excitement. They had so many questions, and they couldn't wait to find the answers. Tomorrow would bring new discoveries, and Zara was ready for whatever the universe had in store for her. The first lesson. The next day dawned bright and clear, with the twin suns casting long shadows across the city of Xanthora. Zara woke up early, her heart racing with excitement. She could hardly contain herself as she got dressed and prepared for her visit to the humans. Today was the day she would learn about their toys and tools. Zara rushed through her morning routine, barely tasting her breakfast. Her mother, noticing her eagerness, smiled knowingly. "You're excited about the humans, aren't you?" she asked. "Yes, Mama," Zara exclaimed, her eyes sparkling. "They promised to teach me. I want to know everything about them." With a final wave to her mother, Zara dashed out the door and made her way to the market. The familiar sights and sounds filled her with joy, but her mind was focused on the humans. As she approached the bustling market, she could see the crowd gathering around the same spot as the day before. When Zara arrived, she spotted the humans already there, setting up their colorful displays. The tall human from yesterday waved at her. "Hello again," he called out, his voice friendly. "Ready for some fun?" "Yes," Zara shouted back, her heart pounding with excitement. "Great, today we'll show you how to use our tools. They can do amazing things." The human began to gather a few objects from their crates, placing them on a large table. Zara moved closer, her eyes wide with wonder. The first object was a small rectangular device with a screen. "This is called a tablet," the human explained. "We use it to access information, play games, and create art." He tapped the screen, and colorful images filled the air. Zara gasped. "You can create art with it?" "Absolutely. You can draw, paint, and even make music." He handed the tablet to Zara. "Go ahead, try it." Zara took the tablet, her fingers trembling with anticipation. She tapped the screen, and a canvas appeared. Following the human's guidance, she began to draw. Lines and shapes formed into a beautiful picture of the vibrant flowers that grew in her garden. The humans watched in delight as Zara's creativity flowed onto the screen. "That's fantastic," one of them exclaimed. Zara beamed with pride. After a while, Zara handed the tablet back, her heart full of joy. "What's next?" she asked eagerly. "Next, we'll show you some of our basic engineering tools," the human said. He lifted a device that looked like a small wrench. "This is called a wrench, and it helps us fix things." Zara listened closely as he explained how to use it. He showed her how to tighten and loosen bolts on a model of a small machine they had brought. Zara watched, fascinated. "Can I try?" she asked. "Of course. Just be careful," the human replied, smiling. Zara picked up the wrench, feeling its weight in her hands. With careful movements, she tightened a bolt on the model machine, just as the human had shown her. "Good job," he cheered. Zara felt a rush of happiness. She was learning. As the day continued, Zara and Lyra joined the humans in various activities. They learned to use a small handheld device that projected holograms, showing them 3D images of stars and planets. Zara was enthralled. "These are our neighbors in space," one human explained, pointing to a bright blue planet. "They look so beautiful," Zara whispered, her heart swelling with wonder. Can we visit them? Maybe one day, the human said with a wink. For now, let's focus on what we can create together right here. Zara felt a bond forming between her and the humans. They were not just strange beings from another world. They were friends and teachers. Each new lesson opened her eyes to endless possibilities. The unexpected threat. The next day dawned bright and clear, and Zara could hardly contain her excitement. The previous day had been a success, and she felt a deep bond forming with her human classmates. The joy of teamwork lingered in her heart as she made her way back to the market. When she arrived, the atmosphere was different. The humans looked tense, and Jake's usual smile was replaced with a furrowed brow. Zara's excitement dimmed slightly. She hurried over to him. "What's wrong?" she asked, concern etched on her face. "Zara, we've just received news from the Galactic Council," Jake replied, his voice low. "They're warning us about an incoming threat." "What kind of threat?" Zara's heart raced. The mention of a threat sent shivers down her spine. "Another alien species is planning to invade Earth. They think we're weak, and they believe they can take what they want," Jake explained, his expression serious. Zara's mind raced. She thought of the other alien students who had been learning alongside the humans. "What will we do?" she asked, fear creeping into her voice. Jake took a deep breath. "We need to prepare. The humans are going to train for combat. We're going to defend our home together." Zara felt a spark of courage ignite within her. "I want to help. We can't let them take Earth," she declared, determination shining in her eyes. Jake smiled, appreciating her spirit. "I'm glad to hear that, Zara, but it's going to be tough. We need everyone to work together." As the day progressed, the human camp transformed into a training ground. Zara watched as the humans showcased their combat techniques and strategies. They practiced drills and prepared equipment, and the tension in the air was palpable. After the initial demonstrations, Jake gathered all the alien students, including Zara, Maiko, and Talia. "We need your help too. You've learned a lot from us, and now we can learn from you," he said, his voice firm yet encouraging. "What do you mean?" Maiko asked, looking confused. "Different cultures have different fighting styles and strengths. We want you to show us your ways. Together, we can develop a strategy that will use the best of both our worlds," Jake explained. Zara felt a rush of pride. They were being treated as equals, and their ideas were valued. "We can share our skills. I can teach you how to use our defensive techniques," she offered, her voice full of excitement. "That's the spirit," Jake replied, his eyes lighting up. "Let's work together and build a plan." The group broke off into smaller teams, mixing humans and alien students. Zara took charge of her team, sharing what she knew about her species' natural agility and stealth. They practiced moving quietly, evading detection, and using the terrain to their advantage. As they trained, Zara realized how much she enjoyed being in a leadership position. Her confidence grew as she guided her team, encouraging them and celebrating their progress. She was learning from the humans, and they, in turn, were learning from her. As the sun began to set, Zara gathered everyone around. "We need to combine our strengths," she said passionately. "If we work together, we can create a plan that protects Earth and surprises our enemies." Jake nodded, clearly impressed. "Great idea. Let's outline our strategy for defense and counterattacks. We need to prepare for anything." Suddenly, a loud alarm pierced the air, causing everyone to freeze. Zara's heart raced as a voice crackled over a loudspeaker. "Attention. Enemy ships detected in orbit. Prepare for possible invasion." Chaos erupted around them. People rushed to their stations, preparing defenses and gathering weapons. Zara felt a mixture of fear and adrenaline coursing through her. This was it, the moment they had been preparing for. "Zara, we need you here," Jake called out, waving her over. Without hesitation, Zara ran to his side, her heart pounding in her chest. "What can I do?" she asked, determined to contribute. "We need to set up a defensive perimeter," Jake replied, pointing to a map on the table. "Can you help coordinate our movements with the alien teams?" Zara nodded, her mind racing. She had never faced an enemy before, but she felt a fierce desire to protect her new home and friends. "I'll make sure everyone knows their positions," she declared. With a sense of purpose, Zara sprang into action. She moved quickly from team to team, rallying the alien students and ensuring they understood their roles. Maiko and Talia joined her, their faces set with determination. As they worked together, Zara felt the bond between humans and aliens deepen. They were no longer just classmates. They were allies united against a common threat. With the training they had done, Zara felt more prepared than ever. She believed in their ability to defend Earth. As night fell, the camp transformed into a fortress of light and energy, ready for the challenge ahead. Together, they stood strong against the unknown, knowing that they had each other's backs. The real test was about to begin, but Zara felt a sense of hope. No matter what happened, they would face it together. Earth was their home, and they would protect it with everything they had. The battle begins. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the atmosphere shifted. The air was thick with tension, and the once vibrant sounds of laughter and training had been replaced by a solemn urgency. Zara stood with Jake, Miko, and Talia as they watched the sky darken, the first stars appearing like distant eyes watching their fate unfold. The alarm continued to blare, warning everyone of the imminent threat. Zara's heart raced as she and her friends gathered with the other students and soldiers. They formed a circle, exchanging glances filled with both fear and determination. "Everyone knows their role, right?" Jake asked, looking around the group. He met Zara's gaze, his expression firm. "Stay sharp. We need to work together." Zara nodded, feeling the surge of confidence. "We can do this," she said, trying to inspire her friends. "We've trained hard, and we know our strengths." The sound of distant explosions echoed in the night, jolting everyone into action. A ship appeared in the sky, ominous and dark against the starry backdrop. The alien vessel descended rapidly, its engines roaring like a beast awakened. "Positions," Jake shouted, and everyone sprang into action. The alien students paired with human soldiers, each group ready to defend their ground. Zara was assigned to the communications team, responsible for relaying orders and updates. She quickly set up a makeshift command center alongside Talia, who had a knack for technology. They connected devices, ensuring that everyone could hear instructions clearly. "Zara, get ready to coordinate with the scouts," Talia said, her fingers flying over the controls. "We need to know where they're coming from." Zara's heart pounded in her chest as she listened to the frantic chatter of soldiers on the radio. "This is it," she thought. "We're going to fight for our home." Suddenly, the alien ship opened fire. Bright beams of energy lit up the night sky, and explosions rocked the ground. Zara's heart sank as she heard screams. The battle had begun. "Stay calm. We're ready." Jake's voice rang out over the chaos, and Zara felt a sense of resolve wash over her. She focused on her task, relaying messages between teams and keeping everyone informed. "Scout team reports heavy fire from the left flank," Zara shouted into the radio. "They need backup immediately." As she worked, Zara caught glimpses of the battle unfolding outside. Human soldiers and alien students fought side by side, using their unique skills to combat the threat. Zara felt a surge of pride watching her friends, her classmates, and her allies working together. Miko was on the front lines, dodging blasts and using his agility to take out enemy soldiers. Zara admired his quick movements, each one filled with purpose. Talia stayed close to the command center, managing communications and providing support from behind. Hours passed like minutes, and the battle raged on. The alien forces were relentless, but so were the humans and their new allies. They pushed back, working tirelessly to defend their territory. Just when Zora thought they were gaining ground, the enemy unleashed a new weapon, an enormous robotic creature that advanced towards them, towering over everything in its path. "Zora, we need a strategy," Jake shouted, urgency in his voice. "What can we do?" Zora's mind raced. "We need to distract it. If we can lure it away from the main group, we might be able to take it down." Jake nodded, determination gleaming in his eyes. "Good idea. Let's coordinate an attack." Zora quickly relayed their plan to the teams. "We're going to lure the robot away from the main force. On my signal, everyone pull back, and we'll create a diversion." As they prepared, Zora felt her heart race. She was terrified but also exhilarated. This was her chance to make a difference. 3, 2, 1, go, Zora shouted, and the group sprang into action. They moved back, drawing the creature's attention. It turned, its mechanical eyes focusing on the movement. Jake shouted commands, directing teams to spread out and set traps. Zora kept an eye on the robot as it lumbered closer, its massive footfalls shaking the ground. With one swift motion, Maiko launched a distraction grenade, and it exploded in a burst of bright light and sound. The creature paused, momentarily confused. "Now, attack," Jake yelled, and the soldiers surged forward, throwing everything they had at the robot. Zora felt her heart pound as she watched her friends fighting with courage. The alien and human teams combined their strengths, launching a barrage of firepower at the mechanical beast. The sound of explosions and the bright flashes of light filled the air, creating a chaotic symphony of battle. Just when it seemed they were gaining the upper hand, the robot unleashed a powerful energy blast that knocked several soldiers back. Zora gasped as she saw Talia get thrown to the ground, her equipment scattering around her. "Talia," Zora cried, rushing toward her friend. She quickly checked for injuries, her hands trembling. "Are you okay?" Talia groaned but nodded. "I'm fine. Just a bit stunned. We need to get back." Zora helped Talia to her feet, and together they moved to rejoin the fight. Zora felt her adrenaline surge as she shouted orders into the radio, directing others to regroup and continue their assault. With a final, coordinated effort, they launched everything they had left at the robot. Explosions erupted, and the creature finally crumbled to the ground, defeated. Cheers erupted from the soldiers as they celebrated their victory. Zora felt a mix of relief and exhilaration, realizing that they had worked together to overcome an incredible challenge. But their celebration was short-lived. The alien forces were still pressing forward, and the battle was far from over. Zora looked around, seeing the determination in her friend's eyes. "We've won this battle," she said, catching her breath. "But we need to stay focused. There's more to come." Jake nodded, his face set with determination. "Let's keep pushing. Earth is worth fighting for." With newfound strength, they readied themselves for the fight ahead, united as allies and friends, prepared to face whatever challenges lay before them. Together, they were stronger than ever. The turning point. The air was thick with smoke and the acrid smell of burnt metal. As the dust settled, Zara and her friends surveyed the battlefield. They had taken down the massive robotic creature, but the alien forces were still advancing, and the atmosphere was tense. "Stay alert," Jake commanded, his voice cutting through the chaos. "We can't let our guard down now. They'll come at us harder." Zara felt a chill run down her spine as she glanced at the remnants of their victory. The destroyed robot lay in a heap, but around them, the sounds of conflict echoed like a relentless storm. Human soldiers and alien students alike were still engaged in fierce combat, fighting to protect their home. "Reinforcements are coming," Talia shouted, pointing towards the horizon. In the distance, a new wave of soldiers was making their way toward them, a mix of humans and alien allies eager to join the fight. "Let's regroup," Miko called, rallying everyone. "We need to strategize before they arrive." As the reinforcements reached them, Zara felt a surge of hope. They quickly gathered around Jake, Talia, and Meko, forming a circle to discuss their next move. "Okay, we need a solid plan," Jake said, looking around at their united group. "We've shown we can take down their robots. Now we need to focus on their soldiers." A wave of agreement rippled through the crowd. Zara felt her heart swell with determination. "What if we create distractions?" she suggested. "If we split into teams, we can confuse them and hit them from different angles." "That's a great idea," Talia added, her eyes shining with excitement. "We can use some of the tech we've been working on to create noise and light distractions." Meko nodded. "We can draw them into the open, where we have the advantage. They won't know what hit them." With a plan in place, the group divided into smaller teams, each ready to execute Zora's strategy. Zara felt a mix of adrenaline and anxiety coursing through her veins. This was their chance to turn the tide of battle, and she couldn't let her friends down. "Remember, stay together and watch each other's backs," Jake reminded them as they moved out. "We can do this." As they took their positions, Zara's heart raced with anticipation. She could see the alien forces regrouping on the other side of the field, their numbers still formidable. But now, they were ready. "On my count," Zara whispered, gripping her communicator tightly. 3, 2, 1, go." With that, they sprang into action. Talia activated a device that released a series of bright flashes and loud bangs, creating confusion among the enemy ranks. Zara watched as the aliens hesitated, unsure of where to turn. "Now," Jake shouted, leading the charge. The soldiers advanced, firing their weapons and pushing forward with renewed determination. Zara felt empowered, her heart beating in rhythm with the pulse of battle. They moved like a well-oiled machine, darting between obstacles and firing at their targets with precision. Suddenly, Zara spotted a group of alien soldiers trying to flank them from the right. "We need to cut them off," she yelled, pointing to Meko and another soldier. "Let's go." They sprinted toward the enemy, using the terrain to their advantage. Zara ducked behind a rock as they approached, her heart pounding. She could feel the tension in the air, the stakes rising with each passing moment. As they engaged the aliens, Zora's training kicked in. She remembered the drills, the strategies they had practiced. She moved fluidly, her actions guided by instinct and the unwavering support of her friends. "Cover me," she called to Meko, who quickly took position beside her. Together, they fired at the approaching aliens, their teamwork seamless. The thrill of the fight coursed through her, and she felt alive. But just as they began to gain the upper hand, a powerful explosion rocked the ground nearby, sending debris flying. Zara fell to the ground, instinctively shielding herself. She looked up to see a massive alien warship hovering above them, its cannons primed and ready. "Fall back! Fall back!" Jake's voice rang out, cutting through the chaos. "We need to regroup." The soldiers quickly retreated to a safer position, but Zara couldn't shake the feeling of dread. The warship was unlike anything they had encountered before. It loomed over them, a harbinger of destruction. "What do we do now?" Talia asked, her voice shaky as she scanned the sky. "That thing is huge. We need to find a way to disable it," Jake said, his brow furrowed with determination. "If we can take down their command ship, it might turn the tide in our favor." Zara's mind raced as she considered their options. "I remember something from our training," she said, a spark of inspiration igniting within her. "We can use the tech we've created. If we can overload its systems, we might be able to disable it." Talia nodded, catching on. "I can work on a plan to hack into their systems. We need to get close enough." "All right, let's do it," Jake said, his resolve clear. "We need a distraction to draw its attention while Talia works her magic." Meko stepped forward, determination etched on his face. "I'll lead the distraction. Just tell me what you need." With a plan in motion, they quickly devised their strategy. Zara felt a rush of adrenaline as they prepared to face the warship. It was a dangerous gamble, but they had to try. On 3, Jake said, rallying the team. 1, 2, 3. With that, Miko charged toward the warship, drawing its fire. The massive ship responded with blasts of energy, illuminating the battlefield with bursts of light. "Now's our chance," Talia shouted, scrambling to set up her equipment. Zara and Jake took cover as they fired at the warship, doing everything they could to buy Talia time. The tension mounted as the battle raged on. Zara could feel her heart pounding in her chest as they fought valiantly against overwhelming odds. The fate of their world rested in their hands. Just when it seemed like all hope was lost, Talia's voice rang out, filled with triumph. "I'm in. I'm overloading their systems." With renewed hope, the team rallied together, their resolve stronger than ever. They pushed forward, determined to protect their home, their friends, and each other. As the battle continued to unfold, Zara realized that they were not just fighting for survival. They were fighting for a future where they could coexist, united against a common enemy. And as the alien warship shuddered under the weight of Talia's hacking, Zara knew that they were on the brink of a turning point. Together, they would face whatever came next, stronger than ever. The final showdown. The battlefield was a chaotic blend of smoke, fire, and the sounds of combat. Zara and her team stood their ground, the weight of their mission pressing down on them like a heavy cloak. The alien warship hovered ominously above, casting a dark shadow over the fighters below. Talia had managed to breach its systems, but they had only moments to act before the enemy retaliated. "Keep firing," Jake shouted, his voice filled with urgency. "We can't let them recover." Zara could feel adrenaline coursing through her veins as she focused her aim on the warship. They had a chance to turn the tide, but it was slipping away. With every blast from the ship's cannons, the ground trembled beneath them. She had never experienced anything so intense, so terrifying. "Almost there," Talia yelled, her fingers dancing over her portable terminal. "Just a little longer." Zara could see the alien soldiers regrouping, rallying to protect their command ship. They were formidable, their numbers still overwhelming despite their losses. "We need to create another distraction," she suggested, her mind racing. "Miko, can you draw their fire again?" "Absolutely." Miko replied without hesitation, determination shining in his eyes. "Just give me a signal." "On my mark, then," Zora said, knowing how vital this moment would be. As they prepared, Talia's voice cut through the noise. "I'm sending a surge through their systems. It should destabilize their weaponry, but I need more time." Zara nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. She looked around at her friends, seeing the determination etched on their faces. They were all in this together. "All right, Miko, now." Miko dashed forward, shouting to draw the alien soldier's attention. Blasts of energy fired toward him, illuminating the night sky as he dodged and weaved through the chaos. Zara felt her heart race as she watched him perform his dangerous dance, a living distraction. "Now, Talia," Zara shouted, her pulse quickening. Talia pressed a button on her device, and the warship shuddered violently. A ripple of energy surged through the air, and suddenly, the ship's cannons began to misfire, shooting wildly into the sky instead of at the ground troops. "Yes, it's working," Talia exclaimed, a grin breaking across her face. "Let's move," Jake commanded, leading the charge. "Now's our chance." With a renewed sense of purpose, Zara and the others advanced, pushing forward through the smoke and chaos. They fired at the alien soldiers, taking advantage of the confusion Miko had created. Each step felt like a victory, but they knew the battle was far from over. As they pushed closer to the warship, Zara noticed a group of alien soldiers forming a line to protect their ship. "We have to break through," she yelled. "If we can get to that ship, we can disable it for good." "Follow my lead," Jake shouted, charging forward with determination. Zara fell in behind him, feeling the heat of the battle intensify. The aliens were fierce, but the humans were fueled by desperation and hope. Zara felt a surge of strength as she fired her weapon, hitting one of the soldiers squarely in the chest. She could see the fear in their eyes as they realized they were losing ground. "Keep pushing," Maiko yelled, and Zara could hear the excitement in his voice. "We're almost there." Just as they reached the entrance of the warship, a massive alien commander emerged from the ship, towering over everyone else. His eyes burned with fury as he surveyed the chaos around him. "You will not take this ship," he roared, raising his weapon. Zara felt her stomach drop. This commander was unlike anything they had faced before. "We need to take him down," she shouted, desperation clawing at her throat. Jake nodded. "Everyone, focus fire on the commander." As they fired at the towering figure, Zara could see the commander raising his weapon to retaliate. The energy charged in the air, and Zara knew they had only seconds. "Now," she shouted, and they unleashed a barrage of shots. The commander staggered but did not fall. Instead, he turned his fury on them, his weapon glowing with destructive power. Just as it seemed all hope was lost, Talia rushed forward with her device. "Let's overload him," she shouted, aiming her gadget at the commander. A surge of energy exploded from her device, striking the commander directly. He roared in agony as the energy coursed through him, causing him to falter. Now's our chance," Jake yelled, leading the charge. The team surged forward, taking advantage of the moment. Zara pushed through the chaos, her heart pounding in her chest. She could feel the tide of the battle turning in their favor. They had faced overwhelming odds, but they were not giving up. As they reached the commander, they surrounded him, firing relentlessly. The commander finally fell to his knees, his weapon dropping from his grip. The battlefield erupted in cheers as the alien forces began to retreat, realizing they could no longer fight. "Victory!" someone shouted, and Zara felt a wave of relief wash over her. They had done it. They had fought against the odds and won. The battlefield was still chaotic, but there was a sense of triumph hanging in the air. Zara and her friends stood together, their breaths heavy with exhaustion, but their hearts filled with hope. "Let's finish this," Jake said, looking at Talia. "We need to disable that warship and ensure they can't return." Zara nodded, determination lighting her eyes. "Together, we can do anything." And as they turned their focus toward the warship, they knew that this was just the beginning of their journey. They had fought together, united against a common enemy, and emerged stronger than they had ever imagined. Together, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead, their friendship the true weapon against the darkness of the galaxy.